ball gave hope
Hmm.
for game one, and then he's like, "Hey, this is what we do. We give you hope," and then we just like slam the door shut.
Grand slam the door shut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, you guys have like so many. Oh, 1 second. Oh, what's? Oh, 1 second. I haven't. Oh, 1 second. I have another window with our YouTube video open, and I'm like, I'm hearing me twice. Like, there you go. And that takes care of it, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I was like, what? Cool. Yeah. So the big game. Sorry. Yeah, that game was so bad. Well, we don't. The FSU doesn't have the pitchers this year, and then you guys are like loaded with drafty. Like, I don't follow the baseball draft that much, but I was like, I know like all your pitching staff could probably go to the majors. So that was pretty crazy. Do you actually go to the games?
I haven't been yet. No, they're all on TV. So
yeah, exactly.
beer, ice cold beer, free beer at home.
All right, cool. Well, that's always, you can't beat that deal. But I don't know if we should wait. How much longer we should wait for Bruce? What's going on? So okay.
Did you send the reminder to his the good email address?
His good email address.
Because I think you were. Let's see. Yeah, this one is going to the ufl.edu one.
That's just not happening.
You need to do the Gator one.
Okay. You guys with your.
Or didn't you send him one on? Was it on Gmail?
Yeah. Let's go figure it out. He's probably like waiting for me. Like, Chris, where are you? Okay. All right, here we go. We'll try again. Bruce at the Gators or UFL?
The Gators one is the one that is still alive. The UFL one is dead.
Okay, but it's Gators.ufl. That's wrong. That one's dead.
Well, hang on, man. Yeah, like the one that you just sent me.
Yeah, that's wrong.
It says bfloyd@ufl.edu. That doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, okay. Well, no wonder he's not here. Jeez. Where are you?
Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, Bruce F. at gators.ufl.edu.
Bruce F. at Gators. Yeah. Bruce F. at gators.ufl.edu.
Yeah.
That's a good one or bad one?
I think that's a good one.
Okay.
There's Bruce at brucefloyd.com.
Okay. Bruce Floyd. Edit that part out. Okay. Oh, no spam. So Bruce Floyd at gmail.com. Oh, that's I'll just send this out.
I'll ping him on Facebook. Pretty quick on there.
I'll try him on Twitter too.
Hit him from all angles.
It's like, where are you? It's like, where can we find a social media expert? On Twitter? Like, I don't think so. On email? No, I don't think so. Okay.
So you still in the same place in Austin?
Yeah, still like probably like, yeah, same place. And I haven't been to Franklin's that much since because it's like so hard to get to.
Right.
Everyone's learned the trick for getting barbecue is to well like there was like a wait in line forever, but then the other thing is to order like a 5-pound order, pre-order, and then you could just say like, you know, then they give you a window of what you can do. You just walk in at like 10:30 or something like that, and with a cooler, and walk out with like your meat in like Just like then you just go home, have a
Nice.
watch the game or whatever,
All
what have
right.
you. And it was awesome. It was great. And then everyone decided to do that, and then now you have to email or like contact them at 9 o'clock on the first Tuesday every month or something, and hope that they have the date free that you want. So
Wow.
yeah, so I don't know, but yeah, I haven't been there since then. But yeah, and then same place. It's been
Brucey.
Hey.
Is everybody frozen? Can you hear me, Bruce? I think you're muted. You're muted. Hey, Bruce.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
But Christopher is no longer in here, I don't think. I think it's a 2-person limit.
Oh.
Is that your office, Dean?
Sorry?
Is that your office?
Yeah.
What'd you look out on? Is that the field or the parking lot?
Well, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, you're Bruce.
No, it's just a wall.
It's a wall. Those aren't blinds over your right shoulder?
Yeah, that just goes over to the side facing the O'Connell Center.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hey guys. Cool. How's everyone doing?
Wonderful.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry being dropped out like that. I have no idea what that was about. So.
Well, it's sounding a lot better now, so whatever you did, keep doing it.
Okay. Great. Cool. Well, thanks for being on the show. If you could just introduce yourselves, and so people who are hearing the voices can associate the names with the voices. So, Bruce, if you can start.
Okay. I'm Bruce Floyd. I am the social media manager for the Florida Gators. So I just I do a lot of tweeting and whatnot.
I'm Todd Sanders. I'm the director of social media at the University of Florida.
Okay. And so is the difference is Todd, you work on student academic stuff, and then Bruce is the sports side of things?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, cool. So can you just I guess, Bruce, if you just walk us through, if you like, just a typical day of what you're asked to do or your responsibilities on social media?
Yeah, typical.
Or what type of, and also what type of projects you might be working on.
Well, a typical day. I don't know that we have a typical day, but with a day like today, which for most college athletic programs, they'd be well into their vacation time by now. But our teams typically go deep into the postseason with our, for instance, baseball or track. So today, like for instance, about maybe 10 minutes before I came here, I was helping coordinate a Facebook Live session with one of our staff writers and one of our video producers. They're over at the College World Series, and they were basically doing a run through of what was happening at that point. And they shot it at the ballpark and talked about basically a scouting report for the different teams they may be facing. On a typical day, I guess I'm, I spend a lot of my time listening to the mentions at us or about us, responding to the ones that need responding to, encouraging those for saying nice things about us, listening to the people with complaints to see if they are fans of ours or if they're just happy to not be fans of ours, and basically just taking a pulse.
Cool. And Todd?
My phone keeps ringing.
Like Bruce, there is no typical day. Everything changes. We do a lot of content creation. We have a team of interns that tell us what's going on around campus. I've been here for 2 years. There's still new things that are happening that we're unaware of. So just covering campus life, prospective students, current students, alumni. We do have alumni office that's on Twitter, but Gator Nation is very, very far-reaching. So Gator Nation is everywhere, so we're doing everything everywhere and sharing what people are doing everywhere.
Well, yeah, I think content creation is, a big part of social media. I would say, especially, I was researching, and I remember this old thing that happened to you, Todd, and I think it's in your office, right? I can see your office right there. It's like, was it the Mercedes-Benz tweet race?
Yeah.
So the little shield behind you right there. So, can you? Which is you are pitted against like what?
Supermodels.
Supermodels. Can you explain like what was that about and that? And basically, is this? I guess what I want to do is like figure out how you got involved in social media, like what gravitated you to social media, and then also just like and then we can talk about the Mercedes-Benz challenge a little bit, but yeah.
Sure. I mean, Mercedes-Benz. I think they were on Facebook, or Mercedes-Benz USA, but they weren't on Twitter. So they were trying to figure out how to grow a Twitter following organically. They had never done a Super Bowl commercial either. So I think it was back in the December of 2011, maybe, that they did this call for the tweet race, where they were going to have 4 Mercedes in 4 different locations race to the Super Bowl in Dallas, Texas, powered by tweets. And there was I think they used clout back then. Yeah. So you had to, like, for the first step, you had to have a clout score or something. And then it turned into you had to do a video. So it was Christmas break in academia, so we had a week off pretty much. So that's what I did with my week off. I made a video and it got chosen, and then I got to pick a co-driver, my buddy John Pedersen out of Madison, and then basically we had until I guess we found out at the beginning of January, and then Super Bowl was the beginning of February, so we had a month to kind of pregame it and build a game plan, and we went up against mommy bloggers. We went up against supermodels, and then we went up against Lynn Kendall from Chicago. So he's like the internet-y guy. I think he's like a VP at Carrot Creative now or something. So he's definitely got the internet juice. A lot of his peers I knew. So he's like advertising type guy. Yeah. I don't know what our angle was. I think we're like middle-aged higher ed guys. I really don't know what the appeal was. I think we actually thought we were like the to make it official, like they were the real people, and everybody else was the ringers. But
so when you said it was a race that's powered by tweets, like was the car actually powered by tweets or?
Absolutely not. It was a gimmick, but they had iPads that we had, and supposedly you had to go. I think you got 4 tweets, let you go 1 mile or something weird like that.
Yeah.
But you had a Twitter tank that would fill up, but the race director would call you if your Twitter tank was getting low, and then you had to pull over at a safe location and wait until you got enough tweets to power your car back up. So it didn't really cut out power or anything.
Okay.
But it was It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A little bit too early for smart cars, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. And so you just and so how would you win? Just you win by just being there fastest, is that right? It's just or the number of tweets.
Well, there were challenges along the way, so they definitely found a way to make the people who are following it involved in the challenges. So you earn points for that. I don't think it. I think you just had to get there. Maybe you got extra points if you got there first. I know that. I think it was 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to reach your destination in a certain amount of time, or you were eliminated. Yeah, I don't really remember. It was all kind of a blur because the Packers went to the Super Bowl and they won, and it was all just crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like an episode of Lost, a really good episode of Lost.
Okay. So it wasn't the final season then. So it wasn't.
No, it wasn't the finale either.
Okay. Yeah, but there's one thing I do want to mention is like we'll probably in the show notes is that I think you have a really great eye for making content and creating content. I think that's what makes you a lot different from other social media people that I know. Is just that your entry into the contest, because they had like 4,000 people entered the contest, and you had to enter a video, and I thought your video was. To be honest, I didn't see any other videos because everything's deleted. Everything's deleted now. Like 5 years looking back, because it's like let me look at this tweet race. Even the website for the website's gone. So I was just like, okay, well, I guess they don't really care for their past projects that much. So yeah, cool. But and so it was like, so how long have you been on social media though? Like since then, like you've been on since the beginning, or?
I remember getting on Facebook because we had the .edu account, so we could get on, but it was only available at University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I think Marquette got on, but University of Wisconsin-Green Bay was not allowed to be on Facebook. So the second that they allowed Green Bay to be on, I was on and trying to figure out Facebook. Okay. And then Twitter, I got on probably after it blew up at South by Southwest that 1 year. Okay. But yeah, no. MySpace? I don't think I was on MySpace. Okay. I don't know why, but I don't think I was on MySpace.
Well, you weren't in a band?
No, I was not in a band.
Okay. So Bruce, how did you get started in social media, and how did you land this awesome job being like watching college sports and be a part of it?
It probably would be better if I turned on my mic. Right. Actually, I started on social media because I have a background as a sort of a web nerd, so any new technologies that popped up, I would try and race to try and be the first. I actually started where Todd is now. But prior to that, I was in charge of the top-level websites for the University of Florida, and which means I was the HTML jockey and whatnot. And as we started to see these platforms emerging, Facebook, Twitter, all of that, I sort of took it upon myself to create accounts specifically for the university, because it seemed to me that we've got this idea that you have this news site that's all about the University of Florida, and people are just going to, because they are dying to see news about the university, they're going to go to our news site and consume all of that content. Well, I kind of thought that probably it's better to go where people actually are living on the internet, which was more and more on social media. And so I created the Twitter account. The Facebook account was actually claimed by someone in IT who had since moved to California, and I messaged that person, and he was basically holding on to the space so no one else claimed it, and handed it over to me with something like 10,000 fans, followers, whatever we call them these days. But then I was posting content on there and responding to people and just sort of doing what I did on my on my personal accounts, doing on these other platforms as the university. And over time, they decided that because I was spending more and more of my time engaging with fans and developing content for those pages, that it should be a full-time occupation.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately for me, I was very well suited for it since I created most of the accounts. So I transitioned over from IT to the marketing and communications office, called University Relations now. And after a time, my predecessor here at the Florida Gators, who was doing social media along with a lot of other work, he moved on to another college, and they decided to create a social media specific job here. And they contacted me and asked me if I knew anybody who would be well suited. And I said, well, I'm happy to help you find someone, but I kind of think I'm well suited. I was also previously a student athlete. I ran track here at Florida, so I had that perspective as well. And after I mentioned that I might be interested, they sort of stopped their search and spoke to me about it, and we sort of did a little bit of a negotiation, and then I took the job, and then my job came open, and Todd jumped into that seat.
All right. Well, I think UF has benefited greatly because you guys are great at the job, and I guess this is the part where in the show where I just tell everyone that I attended Florida State University, and so I'm really jealous that UF has you guys handling the social media stuff. I mean,
that was good. That was a good answer. That was a good way of saying it, because I was about to shut off my camera.
It's like, oh, yeah. But yeah. I mean, FSU's gotten better on some accounts, but
yeah,
it's you guys are there first. So, is are your roles like, is the overlapping still? I mean, you guys, one handles sports, one handles academics. Is it still about recruitment, like recruiting potential student athletes, and also just recruiting students? Is that still like part of the reach, or is that like directly you try to do that as part of your jobs, or is that kind of indirect focus?
Well, we do. I mean, recruiting is a big part of what we do. If you talk about like what are the large objectives? The large objectives are to to obviously assist in recruiting, and we do that by just showing what it's like to be a student athlete, or what it's like, for fans, because we want our student athletes to see that we have a great following, not just football, but all of our sports, and we have a great deal of success there. We do, with regards to recruiting, if we're talking specifically about football, for instance, a lot of the coaches are doing some recruiting from their individual accounts, so it's done, it's sort of woven throughout what we do. I would say that from my seat, and I just to sort of define what I do here more specifically, I'm in charge of all the top level accounts, so anything that would have like a slash or an @ sign, Florida Gators, I'm in charge of all of those accounts. I monitor and have access to all of the sports accounts, and I would say that a lot of my time is spent consulting with the different sports information directors that run those individual accounts for the individual sports. I sort of consult internally with them. I consult with coaches. And to a certain degree, I work with student athletes as well. But just running Facebook and keeping up with the changes that occur, what seem like on an hourly basis, could be a full-time job. And so what I try and make easier for the sports information directors and our coaches is to find out what the trends are, find out how to optimize all of their accounts, and find out what those changes are, so that they don't have to constantly keep up and learn about that. And knowing that helps with recruiting too. For instance, I had the gymnastics coach come to me and ask me about Snapchat. And so I did a presentation for her, kind of explaining exactly how it worked, what the ins and outs are, what the limitations are, so that she could go in sort of guns blazing and optimize on that thing, as opposed to starting an account and sort of stumbling through it.
Right.
And so that's where the recruiting piece. I mean, the recruiting piece is interesting because you have very specific rules in place in terms of what you can and can't do with recruiting. I don't need to necessarily go into those details because some of them are confusing and ponderous and hard to sort of figure out. And we have more changes coming as of August 1st, where they've actually changed some rules and reduced some limitations that we have. Todd, I'll talk to you about that later. But everything we do is about selling tickets, creating awareness, and to a certain degree, recruiting.
Okay. So, Todd, do you feel the same way? Like, it's not just about it's like not about recruiting per se, but just more just like letting people know what's happening. Because even you said earlier, just like you've been here 2 years and you're just events that happen. You're still getting used to the new events happening. And it sounds like, and just
excuse me. Everything Bruce said. I mean, just take out athletics and put in academics, research, or stories for the university. I mean, it's all the same. We consult with the different colleges, and they all have communicators. Some of them have social people. Most of the social people are 10% or less social, so they have other duties. But we try to play with the tools and play with different forms of content, see what works, and see what we can help them not get stuck on. So provide just like tips and tricks and what not to waste your time on. And yeah, definitely like we have a Snapchat, like a lunch and learn is what we're calling it this next week, where we're going to have different departments come in, sit down at the table, and we'll talk about Snapchat. Some of them are on it, some of them aren't. Why not? But yeah.
Yeah, we just did a Snapchat free seminar at E4H and this Thursday, and just a lot of university people came up because, and a lot of marketing people came up just because like we don't know anything about Snapchat. It's like, so they had meeting rooms set up for people just so we just let them know. But like
Snapchat's interesting because sorry to interrupt, but it seems elusive for the older folks. Perhaps because of the way it was sort of introduced as, you have these photos and they disappear, and a lot of people were associating Snapchat with sort of this, sexting type scenario, and now we have, I think, major news outlets that are reporting about older people are getting on now, which probably scares the heck out of younger people. But it's a good platform. I think Todd is doing a really great job over on the academic side of leveraging Snapchat to create awareness about different areas around campus. So the big thing about Snapchat is creating a story where you basically can have individual public posts that when viewed sequentially, and that's how Snapchat works, you can get a sense of like a day in the life of somebody working in a lab, or a day in the life of the alumni association, or being a cicerone, or those sorts of things. And this one of the good things about some of these platforms like Snapchat, that it skews younger, is your audience, and so you're not shooting, you're not casting as wide a net. You know who you're going for. You can speak in their language, and obviously without pandering. But another thing that Todd does really well, and we've been trying to do too, is, I don't know if you can tell, but Todd and I both have a lot of gray hair in our face beard, and
you can hear it in our voices.
You can hear it in our gravelly voices, all that scotch and cigars and whatnot. So sometimes the challenge, and I'm sure it's a challenge for Todd as well, is to be authentic. Without seeming like the cartoon dog on a skateboard going, "Hey, rad!" Just you see somebody like me trying to speak in those in younger terms. I sound like the narc at the high school party, you know. So what you try and do, what Todd has been doing really well, is to get the people that actually do what it is you're trying to present to take over your Snapchat. Those are the Snapchat takeovers you hear about. And so it's less about us saying, here's this thing, and it's more about this is what it is like to be me in this environment, living in the dorm or whatever. In our case, we did a Snapchat takeover with our gymnastics program when they were traveling to the SEC championship, and it was overwhelmingly positive and so much better than I could have done, because it's hard for me to relate to gymnasts. Just their energy. I don't understand how they do it. But just sort of giving the keys to them and letting them show what it's like, not from the outside looking in, but from inside just showing. There were some really cool experiences that people got to see just because we just handed the keys over to gymnasts that we trusted, and they happened to win the SEC championship, and so you saw genuine emotion that was genuinely experienced. You were part of the team, and it was really cool.
Yeah, and when Bruce did that, I mean, they took it over, and they were using the lenses on the bus on the way to the meet. So, I mean, it's something that Bruce and I couldn't do. If we used the lenses on ourselves, it would not work. But, I mean, they were, putting on hats or faces and barfing rainbows. So, I mean, it was cool, it was authentic, and it made you feel like you were part of the team. So it was neat.
So
I was going to say the challenging thing about Snapchat, and the thing that makes people nervous, well, there's a couple of things. One, you have almost zero analytics.
Right.
So, you have to. One of the things you do is you track how many approximate views you get at the start versus the end of your Snapchat story, just to see how much drop off you've gotten. But in terms of knowing how many followers you have, we don't know. We just know that every time we do a snap, we have this approximate number, and if it's larger than the last time we snapped, we know that we've gotten a lot of growth. But one of the things that Todd and I both do is we save all of those snaps, because we don't want them to disappear to the ether and not allow people to experience them again. So a good thing to do is to download, set an alarm for right before the first snap you sent as part of your snap story, save them all, and then you can create a video out of those and then repurpose them on Twitter or on YouTube or on your Facebook channel. That's a really good way of creating awareness about your Snapchat account, but also to not lose all of that great authentic content that you've created.
And so you can just download it. You just log in, you just download it, and to your mobile device.
There's a little icon thingy. You look at your story, and then you click on the click on the button. And then it'll download it as like a one video of all the individual pieces.
Wow.
It packages it rather nicely for you. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So for this story, the technical aspects of it, just like you find people and the sports team that you like, that you trust, if you will, and you say, like, do you give it to one, like you give the keys to the account, I guess, if you will, and say, hey, here's a Snapchat. Keys. These are the parameters of what you can and can't do, like nice, and say.
Well, you can be as structured or as loose as you want. Like, for instance, we did a Snapchat takeover. We didn't give it to the baseball team, but what we did was we gave it to. We had one of our marketers took it over, and they wanted to show what it's like to be in the stands and experience a game as a fan. And so what you can do is essentially create an outline. Sort of like if you're getting ready to do a speech, you have bullet points, so you stay on topic. And so you make sure to, here are the things we want to make sure and cover. Maybe there are 5 or 6 things, and then everything else is more spontaneous. There are things or elements of being live or being in the ballpark that you may not think of, or things that happen spontaneously. it could be Albert, our mascot, interacting with a fan or something like that. Not necessarily planned, but it's something that you can do to fill in. But as long as you have sort of an outline of what you're going to do, start, middle, and end, fill it in with as many other elements as you want. To a point, you don't want to do 100, but you probably won't do 100. But we've even got templates, like paneled templates, like if you were doing a design layout. It's basically like a template for Snapchat, where if you wanted to frame a scene, it's like storyboarding. You can do that. We've got to use them, but it's good to have something of a plan, but don't be too structured, because you want to break away from that in case something cool is happening.
Right. And I figure like people who are Snapchat users, that you hand the keys off to the kingdom, they would just know what to do.
Yeah.
And you just like a list of things to cover, maybe, and just go for it. And so
we tell them to try to have fun, because nobody wants to watch something that isn't someone having fun.
Right.
So we try to, even if it's bug week or whatever strange topic they're covering, we want them to look like they're having fun, because they are having fun.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I say hand the keys over, and that could be varying degrees.
Yeah.
So if we may do a Snapchat takeover of baseball with the baseball team at the College World Series. We may not just assign it to an individual student athlete. We may just give it to the SID who's down there, and then he's on the bus, he's with the team. Like periodically, he would hand it over to somebody and say, "You guys pass this around the bus," or whatever. The last thing we want to do is be a distraction. So we're not trying to assign a job or work to the athletes. We just want to give them the opportunity to create an authentic moment on Snapchat. So
and share it with the other fans, right, and other supporters. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and also it doesn't put all the pressure on one student athlete to have to do all the things, all the work. He or she needs to concentrate on their upcoming meet. So it's you sort of have to feel that out and make sure that everyone's comfortable with it. Because if they're not comfortable, you're not going to get that great experience. Mm-hmm. If the coach isn't comfortable with it, you're probably not going to get to do it again. So I think we've because gymnastics went so well and they won, and it was you got to see behind the scenes of them like hugging the whatever the trophy was, and I think they'll be doing it again next year.
Right. Cool. Yeah. So I just want to make sure the technical aspects of it. So they tell a story, and then is there something you actually do in Snapchat where you just like say, hey, this folder is my story, or like these videos are part of my story, or just is the fact that when they start taking over, those snaps become the story, and then you can just download it in one big file?
Oh, well, as a viewer, if you're posting something on Snapchat, you have the option of sending it to individual people, or you can post it as what's called My Story, which basically means it's available to anyone that's following you, and so it'll show up as a story. And anything that we post on My Story will show up basically in this collection, and you can click through and watch them in sequential order.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They can't download it, not through the Snapchat app, but we would be able to.
Because you'd be the author, right? So.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So.
Are you not on Snapchat?
Yeah, I am. I just want to make sure. I was like,
okay.
Maybe there's some secret like swipe maneuvering with 2 fingers or 3 fingers I don't know about yet. Like, oh, here's all the folder and icons that you've been missing.
It's like, you have to swipe with your elbow.
Oh, see, there you go. Just been missing out there. See, I have some gray hairs, but I don't. So I'm not totally with it.
I don't see any.
But yeah, so like speaking of Snapchat, that was just. Are there any as part of your job, you have to be on the lookout for where the students are, or like what technologies they're using. Like, there's Snapchat, which I find is hard to use. I understand Twitter, Facebook. Facebook to some degree, even though it's a walled garden, but it's a browser. I can get to it. It's on the web, on the internet. Twitter is, broadcasting on the web. You don't need a password. to go log in. It's that walled whatever. But Snapchat, just like this. It's just like this walled off area, and like you said, like things disappear within 24 hours. So it's like this. It was this big unknown to me, and so are there other like technologies out there or other platforms that you are on that you use that aren't maybe like in the top handful that I mentioned, like Twitter, Facebook,
Well, I mean, there were campus stories before Snapchat started doing campus stories. Like every now and then, somebody in California pushes a button, and Florida has a campus story that people can add to that are within our geofence. We don't control it. People think we do. They either give us praise or hate, but it's not up to us. It's somebody in California that's pushing a button. But there were universities there were students perhaps that were creating accounts that were like the untold stories of campus, and then you'd send them whatever snap you wanted, and they put it on this rotating account that was, full of nude people and drugs. Snapchat knocked that out and said you're not going to be in the App Store anymore if you keep this up. So they started monitoring that. And Yeti, have you heard of Yeti, Chris?
No.
Oh yeah, Yeti. You should get it, man. UT Austin's right there. I'm sure they're on there. But that's where all the evil lives now. So
I should go all the evil lives things.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. But that's where all the filth of Snapchat moved to. Yeti.
Okay.
Yeti,
What about
stories.
Yik Yak or Yak Yik? I don't know what that is.
Yiki Yaki, yeah, we use that just for to monitor real-time situations, usually more crisis stuff. If something bad's happening on campus, we go there first because that's usually where it hits first before it goes to Twitter.
Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. So I think of Twitter as being pretty fast. So
yeah, no, Yik Yak's always way ahead. A lot of people will, when you watch Yik Yak, you'll see the misinformation that goes on Yik Yak be regurgitated on Twitter like 5 minutes after the fact.
Oh wow!
And it just starts spreading.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other platforms that evil or good I should know about?
I mean, the latest capture thing, Bruce has been doing a lot of 360 video.
Yeah,
starting to mess around with 360 photos. We're trying to get equipment to do the 360 video, but
is that through Samsung 360's camera or different camera?
Bruce has the Ricoh.
Ricoh.
Like the Ricoh, that seems to be the easiest point of entry in terms of consumer cameras. Here it is right here. It's this is the camera, and it's basically two fisheye lenses. And for something like if you're trying to shoot a sporting event, the challenge is you can try and take a panorama or shoot different angles and stitch them together, but when you're in a stadium, people are constantly moving, and it doesn't really lend itself well. Right. The good thing about this device, it's all built in, it takes the photo all at one time and then it stitches it together, so you don't have that weird, sort of people cut in half.
That stitching thing you talk about, it doesn't match up.
Right.
Or the lighting doesn't match up correctly. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Right. Facebook is, since Facebook has they're actively promoting and encouraging people to do obviously live video and also the 360 videos, but also they just allowed for people to post the 360 images as a native function, and so we've been taking advantage of that, and gives people an opportunity, especially during the summer when as soon as the College World Series is over, of course, but in the summer when we don't have any sports going on and we want people to get excited about the upcoming season, the plan is to go to all the venues and to say, hey, we're still here, get ready, take a look for your seat, look around, get excited. We're gearing up for next year, and because it's a 360 image, people tend to spend a little bit more time with it, because they're gonna explore every angle. So I think it's actually a really nice thing to have.
And then how has Facebook Live been working? You guys have been, like you said, you were coming from a Facebook Live setup, and that was in Twitter. has been playing around with video live, and there with Vine. Like no one's mentioned Vine yet. Like I don't know if that's like.
Oh, I love Vine.
Oh, you love
So
Vine? Okay.
yeah, oh, I'm a big, huge fan of Vine. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's doing in terms of general user stats. I don't know if the platform is declining, but Vine has really sort of changed for us. They it's more of a most of the people that are on Vine are sharing content. They're not producing their own content, so that's mostly made up of creators. And what they did that was sort of a game changer for us was to change their sports channel, which they have these different categories. And it used to be the sports channel was made up of anyone that claimed that they were presenting sports, and it was a lot of it was content that was ripped from official sources, and then they'd add their own stolen music or whatever, and they'd create like a hype video, a 6.5 second hype video. They've changed so that now the channels for sports are populated with verified accounts.
Okay.
So once that happened, our Vines actually shot up in terms of loops, and which are basic. That's the way they measure number
Like
of
a
views.
view. Yeah. Okay.
So I personally like them because 6.5 seconds, if you do it right, especially if you get the music loop going well, people will watch it more than once. So you're really reinforcing the thing that that they're seeing by making them watch it. Not making them watch it, but it encourages them to watch it over and over. It's definitely, these things are definitely shareable too.
Right.
But you were talking about Facebook Live. We've had a lot of success with Facebook Live. It's our contact from Facebook has, usually Facebook is very cagey about what they want you to do and what they don't want you to do, or what the magical algorithm is supporting and that sort of thing. They've been very specific about live video. If you watch any of their like the F8 conference, or like I said, talking to our rep, they've been really pushing heavy live video, and so we've tried it. One of the videos that we did fairly recently was I had my Facebook Live app fired up, and as soon as that last pitch went across the plate, and we qualified for the College World Series, I ran out from this underground place behind the dugout and went out on the field. And I'm trying to pull the video up now, but we've got.
Who were we playing, Bruce?
What?
Who were we playing?
I
I don't remember.
don't know. Who were we playing?
I don't know.
I don't know, but you guys had to come back from one, like being down one, that's for sure.
Yeah, we wanted to get some extra hot dogs sold at the park, so we wanted to. No, that was a good series, and I'm looking at the video now. It's that particular video, and it's not exceptional in terms of quality. I'm not the best cameraman,
Okay.
but it's reached close to 1.3 million people.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's been viewed 430,000 times. One thing that's interesting about Facebook and Facebook Live that I think people should realize, and it's one of the things that we're discovering, is that there's obviously when you post something on Facebook, you have this potential audience that you can reach, but the audience that's there to consume video, their intent in terms of viewing a video is different than it is when you look at a similar video on YouTube. By that I mean, well, what we're finding, and we're going to continue to test this and see, and maybe do some simultaneous live video from Facebook and also on YouTube, is that the people on Facebook, they are discovering these videos, and they're not necessarily on Facebook to watch videos. It's just something that shows up on their feed, versus someone who's on YouTube, who's, if you're going to YouTube, you're there to watch a video. And so what we're seeing is that the retention is much different for our Facebook videos, like our press conferences, than they are on YouTube. And although the numbers are higher in terms of the number of unique people watching, the time spent on that video, hanging out and watching, the length is much shorter on Facebook, or has been, than it is on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to continue to measure that, but that's for us, it's definitely telling, because maybe our videos need to be shorter on Facebook than they are on YouTube. Maybe the press conferences are probably they may be better suited for our YouTube channel than on Facebook. We need to continue to measure that, and then determine what's the optimal situation depending on what we're trying to present.
Well, it's also, a press conference is not like the world's best content either.
Well,
unless
true.
unless it's like some sort of crazy or awesome press conference.
Well, but that's the thing. We had, I'll give you an example. We had, so our athletic director just retired, and although it was huge news. It was trending on Twitter. I'm very surprised, but it ended up trending on Twitter, and then we did a Facebook Live using their API. We did Facebook Live for the press conference, and the retention was in the single digits for that. I went and looked at some of our kind of weekly press conferences with our coach, our football coach, and I found that the retention on that was like 40 or 50%. So people were hanging out for much longer, and it maybe we're talking apples and oranges there. It was pretty similar in terms of the length of time, the overall length of the two different types of video, but I was just comparing press conference to press conference. We may do a simulcast on YouTube and Facebook, and then do an apples-to-apples comparison and see how that goes. But there was a pretty dramatic difference, and so we're going to continue to look at that. Right.
Well, I mean, I would just wager, like, if I went to the press conference for a coach,
yeah.
I would get like a feeling as to the style direction of what's coming down the pipe, what's he's feeling, what's he going back. And whereas the athletic director, right, stepping down, I was like, one, I would go there as a reporter if I was covering, if I was a beat writer, to get like the step behind, like what's coming down the pipe, to influence the coach's decisions or whatnot. And so it wouldn't be, in other words, I'm saying it would be a smaller audience, but a more well-informed audience, I think.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
That'd be my guess. So.
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Or really diehard fan. It was just that.
Well, diehard fans for either. I mean,
Yeah.
people watching press conferences. I'm trying to,
Yeah. But
who is that audience? Who are these people?
All right. So, and then I have to ask. So Facebook Live. I also feel like Facebook Live is just like, when I review a video live, it's like I have all these like instant messages, like tweets shaped messages with infographics or whatever, and the feed keeps getting pushed down, so I can only watch the video feed as it goes, scrolls down a little bit. I mean, it's to some degrees, it's Facebook has it right where like I don't want the feed to keep on adding as I watch video, but sometimes I just have to keep on scrolling by, and so I feel like, so I mean, I could still like press the button and get a black screened blow up of the video, but still I just think the viewing of the Facebook Live, they saw some quirks to work out, but
yeah, definitely.
But I do want to get but also we haven't talked about Instagram. Like, do you guys still use Instagram a lot, or?
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely use Instagram.
Okay. Do you use it differently than Vine, or do you just cross, like you say, you build some content for? Do you just build content and just shove it into different social media pipelines, or do you?
Sometimes we do that. We're trying to get away from that. We're trying to use all the tools to tell different parts of the story.
Okay.
Excuse me, old person with gray hair. So instead of taking one story and forcing it into all the tools so that we can reach the different people that are on those platforms, we kind of use those platforms to tell different pieces of the story, so that the person who's super connected with what we're doing kind of sees every angle of it. The people who aren't as connected still get pieces of it, but it's sort of something that we've been playing around with a lot of the content that we're doing. On Monday, two of the people that I work with, they're going to be going to the beach to release a sea turtle. So we kind of blew that apart on all the different things that we need for this release of a sea turtle, and what would play well in one spot, what might play better in another spot. Because I mean, there'll definitely still be a traditional news release type story that is being created with a senior writer, and then we'll have a photographer who's going to do this, and someone to grab video snippets. But you know, how does that work as a vine? What would be the best vine for that sea turtle? So hopefully, it going into the water. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Okay. And so, what type of things would you do? Like, are you guys planning like for different social media? Like what would be like? Is that like Instagram this or Snapchat that, or like how would you?
Well, we're going to do Facebook Live, so
Okay.
hopefully that works.
Mm-hmm.
We did Facebook Live last night. We were going around Century Tower and lost connection a few times. So that was wonderfully fun. And Bruce, I don't know if you're having this problem with Facebook Live, but if your phone is horizontal, you can't hit the finish button. You have to turn it back vertical to hit the finish button. So when you double tap it, it's just the old guy on the screen for a little bit for everybody to see. That's a fun one.
I don't know that I've run into that, but
yeah, we've been using the gimbal to do it, and so when it's on the gimbal, it's the horizontal, and the finish button will not finish the broadcast. It's really cool. Slightly annoying. So just exploding the story, trying to figure out the different attention spans of the different audiences. So we'll do a snap story with that as well, but that will be a totally different take than the super polished story. We're not doing any long form video for it, so there'll probably be multiple clips that are slapped together and 30 seconds long that will go out on Twitter, maybe Facebook. But then again, if you capture Facebook Live, it gets archived, so there is that feed right there, even though it's longer and not really edited well, you know, since it's just a one-shot deal. But yeah, and then Instagram now offers 1 minute of video, I believe it is. So there's new opportunities there.
Okay. And then how is the academics, like how are you using Todd, like are you using YouTube then, or just is that
YouTube?
Yeah.
We just use to archive stuff.
Really?
We don't even look at the stats anymore.
Wow.
It's just a place that we archive things. I mean, we don't share YouTube links anywhere anymore. We don't share YouTube links on Facebook. We don't share YouTube links on Twitter. At one time, we shared them on Facebook just because we could caption YouTube videos, and we couldn't caption Facebook videos. Now we caption Facebook videos. So there's absolutely no need for YouTube other than we tag it and house it, and it's archived there. But as far as social sharing, we upload directly to Twitter or directly to Facebook because it just seems to have more play.
Wow. Wow. So that's just like cutting into YouTube's domain, I think. Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Oh, we're still putting it there, though. You know, it's not like we're giving up on it. It's a great place to, you know, it's a search engine for videos. So it's a great place to tag appropriately, and out there it's just we don't want to take people from Twitter to YouTube or people from Facebook to YouTube. Rather have them where they are.
All those platforms, they're trying to keep you on their platform, and so you know, trying to present a YouTube video on Twitter doesn't display as generously as a native Twitter video does, and so it doesn't encourage those clicks to view. And you know, same with Facebook. You put a YouTube video on there, there's the play button, but you know what Facebook native video, they do an autoplay, and it, you know, the motion draws your eye, and you know.
And dare I say that perhaps they, you know, share their videos higher than the YouTube videos. You know, it's.
I would say that's
dare.
Okay.
Oh, dare to say it. Yeah, I will say, like, whenever there's something trending on Facebook and there's a video of it, I search all the mentions of it, trying to find that YouTube one, because I like the controls of the YouTube embedded into Facebook, which I know will not be lasting long as soon as Facebook video gets its legs a little bit more secured. But I just find it a lot more.
It's time to evolve, man. Time to evolve.
You know what? I got to earn my gray hairs. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying, man. So I have to ask you a question, Todd, and it's I really, like we talked about earlier, just like I love the video about the going all the way back about the the car, the application that you did. You also did some great videos with your family. One of my favorite ones is when you go to the store and you find 4 ingredients and put them into a cup, and then you drink it with your kids. I think that was just
Gag shake.
oh, actually, oh my gosh, I just
Tried to make gag shake happen. Gag shake didn't catch fire, so.
they get you. Oh man, it was so great. I love it. I laughed my butt off. But what I love about it is that you know, I love Twitter. I work on making jokes on Twitter badly, but they're usually just they're just words, just like this a tweet. What I love about it, and like if you can have any advice from me, I'd appreciate it. Like, how can I go and make it? If I have a joke or something like that, how can I go make it a video or make it a story or something like that?
Well, some things work, some things don't. Last night I was here a little late because we had a thing over Century Tower, and everybody else went home and was going to come back at 8 o'clock, and I didn't feel like driving home and coming back, so I just hung out here. Then I got hungry, so then like last night I just cooked some quesadillas on the griddle and some eggs and whatever else was in the thing. But just took video of it. It's always fun to play. It's pretty much nonsense, but you learn some things. Like I made a GIF of the eggs and the quesadilla, and I tagged Frank's Reds or hot sauce in it or whatever the hell. Is it Frank's hot sauce? Yeah, tagged them in it. But it was just playing. But I don't know. I think the iPhone, or back in the day, I had an iPod, and there wasn't a camera in the iPod. We actually had the handheld cameras with the kids, or the flip cameras.
Yeah, flip cameras.
And it was so tough to do things.
Right.
And now it's so easy, but it's like we do it less. I don't get it. It's because everybody can do it. We were making memes back in the days, with the kids. But you had to have a mastery of Photoshop. Now you don't need a mastery of Photoshop now to make a meme. There's things on the internet that you just type in words and add the photo, and there it is. Right. So I think things are getting super easy. So maybe things are just getting overpopulated with all this stuff. But
okay.
Yeah, I'd say for you should probably have a few beers and just do it, man.
So there's no try, just do.
Right. No, definitely.
Okay. And beer. I'll write that one down there.
The beer helps.
Todd tells me to drink more beer.
Bloody Mary time.
Oh man.
Sunday morning.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Creative juices.
Cool. And Bruce, I have for you, like, how do you? So we have platforms that don't track. We have Snapchat that analytics. We just say, hey, more people have seen it since when we posted it. How do you track results? Like, what? Like, do you use Google Analytics or do you see the number of clicks that come through, or?
Are we talking specifically about Snapchat, or what are we talking about?
Oh no, other platforms actually. So.
Well, how do I track? Well, to a certain degree, you get a sense of things once you've managed a platform for a long enough time for a particular, for the Gators or whatever. Right. It took me a little bit, but now I can look at a post, and within like 2 minutes I can tell that it's going to be a success or not,
right,
just based on the acceleration of the number of likes that happen. And I can check back in an hour. Actually, I probably check back in 30 minutes, and I can, if it's above a certain threshold, I know that we're doing pretty well. I mean, more deeply, and it's always a good idea to do this. I've got some. I train my interns to be able to consume and to process the analytics, the exportable analytics that come from, or insights that come from Facebook. What we export from Twitter, and I have them process those into pivot tables and do all that. Part of that process is so I'm informed about what's going on, and the other part of that process is so that my interns have that extra experience, because being a well-rounded social media person, the content part is the fun part,
right,
but you also want to make sure that you're actually that you're achieving your goals. What is actually, you want to know what's actually working, and to a certain degree you can intuit through it. Like like I can tell you that Facebook Live video from the baseball game was a success. But it's always good to kind of process your insights and see what your actual top 10 posts were, based on how much was shared more versus how many got more comments, and it's always good to take a look back and see what you did and what encouraged the different types of responses. One of our major goals is to get people to come to our website and read our articles. And so, that's something that I go back and I look at in terms of, have I created an enticing enough caption? Am I using the right images that actually encourage people to want to click and read the article? Some of those articles are easier than others, of course.
Yeah. Cool. And you said, do you have any internal tips that you think of, when you see a story come in the pipe and you're massaging it for social media play? Is there any tips that you would suggest on trying to make things not more viral, but more accessible, or more? I'm not gonna say clickbaity, but
No, I've done a little bit of clickbait stuff.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Facebook said we're going to penalize that, and so these are the top 10 plays of the week. You're not going to believe number 6. We did that for a tiny bit, and I felt gross. No, I think that what I like to do with some of the posts that I put out, I'm trying to encourage people to click through. What I'll do is I'll ask a question that hopefully they won't be able to answer unless they've actually read the article. It's probably a lot to ask to get people to click through, read the article, come back and comment, but it's one of the things that I try and do to get more of a response. I don't know, some of the things I do is if we have I'll take a look at what images are available that relate to the particular article, and I may go through and process the image a little bit better so it pops more at a smaller scale. Mm-hmm. It's always good to ask questions. I'm not saying necessarily doing a poll, but asking the question as part of your post, and because people on social media, you're not going to believe this, especially these days, but people really love giving their opinions on social media. So, especially if you ask them, they will certainly tell you.
Even if you don't ask.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, depending on the topic, you don't really.
Well, yeah. So, but it doesn't hurt to ask people, a question,
yeah.
Or to be more direct in terms of what you would like them to do.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, Todd,
use less words, also.
Yeah. The journal term is I'm not sure if it's still valid, but it's just write what you want to write and then cut it in half and then cut it in half again.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. And I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Thanks for your last minute tips. I just squeezed in there, asking for help in there. But Todd, and we'll start with you. Just how can people find out, reach you on the internet, and reach more about UF?
On the internet, we're at UF on Twitter, Facebook.com/UFlorida. Not sure where we are on Vine, but we've reached 1 million loops on Vine. We thought that was important because it displays now on Twitter. So, woo! One of the things I wanted to talk about is being an early adopter on some of these things is worth it. When Jiffy came out, or Giphy, whatever they want to be called, GIF, I'm a GIF guy. But when they came around, we were able to get an account. Bruce has an account for the Gators as well. And we've been populating the hell out of that with animated GIFs of different things, Florida, different things, go Gator. And at first it seemed pretty fruitless. It seemed more of a thing that we were doing just to have a place to house them and we could find them. But then Twitter goes around and they, if you want to do a GIF on Twitter and you hit the GIF button, it goes to Jiffy. So us having that whole archive of everything Florida up there, I think is a win that we didn't anticipate. But
is that GIPHY?
Yeah, or GIPHY.
Okay.
.com/
I concur with that because getting on that platform and populating it, it was as soon as they released the search engine on the mobile Twitter app, people automatically had all this dearth of all this content that we'd already created, and that was really helpful. And of course, the other benefit was, when Facebook finally started supporting GIFs, you couldn't upload them; they had to be hosted elsewhere.
Right.
So you had them already in this, on this platform that people could click to and see. Oh, they've got a bunch of other stuff, and then it has the source. It's Florida Gators or it's University of Florida, and then they could click and see all of the cool stuff that you had on your page. So yeah, I agree with him. It's been really cool working with them.
Okay, that's cool. So just dive directly to new technologies, okay.
I mean, a lot of times, we probably spent a year that felt pretty much wasted on it.
Yeah.
And then, like Bruce said with that, it houses them for you. So we were able to, once Facebook allowed GIFs, there was a place, a honey hole full of them. But it's sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, were you on Beam? Were you on the Beam app? Did you do that one?
I'm on Beam, yeah.
Yeah. Are you still on it, dude?
No. I still have an account, but I haven't used it.
Yeah, I think I wasted a week of my life trying to, figure that one out. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I did learn from Beam. I did learn some things.
Well, they released a 1.0 version of it recently, so it's a different.
It's different now.
It's a different app now. It's so now you record it, you tap it to your your body or whatever, and it records what you're watching instantly.
Yeah.
So there's no editing whatsoever. Right. So.
Oh yeah, that's how it was, man. That's how it's always been.
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay.
Are you messing with me right now? Are you trying to make me feel like time travel is real?
No, man. This is as of a month ago, so I'm not really sure how.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I'm confused.
Yeah.
You're messing with the old people again.
Okay. No, man. They came with a new version, I swear.
Yeah. 1.0.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. And Bruce, where can people find you and the UF Athletics Department?
Florida Gators. Yeah, you can find us. I've worked pretty hard to claim Florida Gators on every platform. So at Florida Gators / Florida Gators on everything.
Nice.
And you can find me, of course, at Bruce Floyd, and I've worked probably as hard getting all of those on.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for spending an hour with me, and really appreciate it. Cool.
Thank you for having us.
Cool.
Thanks.